ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here to the PM Show Weekend Edition, also known as the newest of reality shows, The Manettis, with Nancy and Larry Manetti. And this is the theme from one of the TV shows you run. Is this Magnum P.I.?
Very funny. Do you want to be dead now or later? That's not nice. This is one of the greatest iconic shows of all times. You know, Baba Black Sheep.
It's a great show.
The beginning of my life and the beginning of my great friendship with Jimmy Whitmore. Is Jimmy on?
James Whitmore Jr. is with us. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, thanks very much.
Lieutenant Boyle reporting, sir.
I remember that music.
Yeah.
I heard that music a few times.
Yeah.
Hi, Jimmy. It's Nancy.
And, hey, kid. How are you?
And this
I'm
is
good.
Michael Horn, our neighbor.
Hey, Michael. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, James. Great to talk to you.
Nice to hear your voice. Hey, Nancy.
Yeah.
Remember that time we were on that phone on that strange planet in outer space on Battlestar Galactica?
I was just telling Mike about it. Yeah, we had Irish brogues.
Yeah, I was trying to sell whiskey to the aliens and the Martians out there. It was an extraordinary experience.
You played the robber.
I did, I guess.
We had fun.
You two were husband and wife in that episode.
All right, I don't want to hear about this stuff, especially hearing about them on a planet drinking booze.
Yeah. Well, we didn't drink the product; we just sold it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Larry's getting jealous.
I get very upset.
Well, he should. He should get jealous.
Aw, you're sweet.
One of the prettiest ladies that ever stood in front of a camera.
Thank you.
Thank you, honey.
So, Jimmy.
Yeah, but
oh boy, Nancy, I'm not gonna. We're gonna have to get a bigger room.
Change the topic pretty quick here because we have to get a room
Jimmy,
here.
Listen, you yourself are just a marvelous, marvelous actor, and also, I mean, just by reading your credits, I was overwhelmed. I had no idea you had this list of credits with directing. I think you're the biggest television director ever.
Well, I'm trying to make a living, bro. I've been trying to make a living all these years, you know.
Well, we were talking about guest homes. Maybe we should move into yours. Hey, Jimmy, all kidding aside, living with Dad, I mean, I have to bring this up because your father, James Whitmore, is probably, you know, one of the top 5 icons as far as actors go. Henry Fonda, I mean, Clark Gable, and James Whitmore comes to mind.
Well, it's awful nice of you to say that.
Well, but it's the truth, and to live with him and to be his son. Did you get to meet all these like Gable or Fonda or any of them?
No, well, I met Henry Fonda. I met Henry Fonda when I was in my late teens. I got a bunch of buddies from acting school in New York, came out to California, and my dad was doing a picture. God, what was it called? With Richard Widmark and Fonda, and it was a Don Siegel picture, a Madigan it was called.
Oh wow,
Madigan.
I remember Madigan.
And we all went out to the back lot, and I think it was at Fox, and we all went out to just, you know, because all these guys were like New York actors that wanted to go on a Hollywood movie set, and they were all out there, and Mr. Fonda was out there, and we got to say hello and shake his hand, and
wow,
he was pretty impressive, yeah.
God, what, I mean, you got me, I'm like on another planet just listening to that.
You like, Nancy has said, you like a particular actor, you watch a movie, and then you kind of comb your hair like they are.
Yeah,
like
I'm one of those space cadets, you know. I'd, you know,
kind of get into the...
I'll have to get into to James Whitmore. You know, I just saw your dad on Shawshank Redemption.
Right,
he was fantastic in that.
Very popular picture.
But let's talk...
What was it like growing up with your dad? I mean, was your dad like saying, go act, you kids, and go out and do things? Or what was it like as a kid?
No. My dad grew up in Buffalo, New York. He was a kind of a farm kid who played football and ended up going to prep school on a football scholarship, and then went to Yale, and then
wow,
and it was right before the war broke out, so he was like a sophomore at Yale when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. So what they did was they accelerated all those guys and let them graduate a year or two early, so they could go and join the war effort. So my dad graduated from pre-law at Yale, then went into the Marine Corps and was an officer in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
Went to the South Pacific all in about 3 years. So, you know, he was a regular kind of guy.
You played his life.
What?
I mean, you did. You played his life on Baba Black Sheep in the South Pacific.
But he was, his values were about, you know, playing sports, and you know, he thought he was a big guy in education and stuff. I mean, he was very disappointed in me because I was like, you know, I just wandered around with my mouth hanging open. But
take it easy. Take it easy.
Boy, you
James
gave me a heart
Whitmore
attack.
Take it easy.
But Jimmy, look how proud he has to be very proud. All right, it's enough.
That's good. I like it. He's a great actor. You have a brother. We were talking about this before that I've seen, given some sheriff spokesman stuff or something. Am I right?
He works for Sheriff Baca as his public relations coordinator, and sort of, especially when they're dealing with sort of show business type people who get into trouble. Steve seems to find himself out in front of me. He pretty much is Baca's press secretary.
You guys are everywhere. I'm telling you, the Whitmore family is kind of like ingrained in the nation here. It's good stuff.
Trying to make a living, like I say.
Jimmy, when did you start directing? Was it after Black Sheep or?
Oh yeah, it was in '84, Nance. I was working. I've done a lot of stuff for Steve Cannell.
Yeah.
He may rest in peace. And he called me up and said, "I'm doing a TV series, and I want you to play one of those goofy comedy guys you play for me." And I was just, I was a kind of arrogant kid in those days, and I said, "Well, I'll do it for you, Steve, but let me direct a show." Let me direct. I didn't want to direct a show. I just wanted to, get an hour just to mess around and give the other actors some time to just fool around and have some fun.
Yeah.
I didn't have an interest or a clue about what was involved in directing. And what ended up happening was Steve said, "Okay, I'll give you a shot." And then Lou Antonio heard that Steve had said it, and Lou's one of the great directors in Hollywood.
For sure.
And I told Louis I was acting for him in a show, and he said, "Wait a minute, go tell him to give you the job. Take it. It's an annuity. It's not bad for an actor to have a couple of things he can do to make a living." So I called Steve, and Steve put me on the phone with Joe Swirling, who ran his company in those days.
Right.
And Joe said, "All right, you're working November the 12th. You show up and you're going to direct an episode." And I almost fainted in the phone.
Wow. Now, what series was that, James?
Hunter.
That was in Hunter. So we got Fred Dreyer on the air here tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to taunt Fred Dreyer about that. So you directed Fred in that show.
Well, and Fred was very helpful to me. I mean, Fred was just starting out himself in those days. I mean, but we got together and I directed some stuff for those guys, and then Roy Huggins took over the show, the old Hollywood veteran.
Right.
Yeah. And Roy, he saw the first day of dailies I directed for him. He said, "This kid's great. Let's hire him for every other show."
Wow.
The producer at the time, who was the line producer, was a guy called Stu Siegel, who was another great
Right.
interesting
Yeah.
guy.
Renegade.
And Stewart said, "Hey, Roy, what are you nuts? The kid's never directed in his life. What are you going to give him every other show? He's going to put us he's going to kill us." So they ended up giving me 6 shows.
Oh, my.
In a day or so. And then, like 3 days later, Roy looked at my dailies and said, "This guy's the worst director I've ever seen in my life." so he wanted to fire me.
Oh,
and Fred was in there talking to him and said, "Don't fire the kid, give him a chance." And I ended up getting the chance, and I've been working ever since.
Wow. When was it that you knew you loved it? Because you said you didn't want to do it at all. Was it?
It was after my first show. It was
really?
Very strange. What happened was I shot the first hour, and I'm out there, pointing the camera and doing my coverage and doing the stuff the guys tell me to do, kind of listening to the cameraman and those guys, and talking to the actors. I had the whole thing was going to be a big feature film for me. It was an episode of TV. I got Dreyer he didn't shave. He was like, I told him to stay up for 3 days before he started the show. It was like I was making my magnum opus, Anyway, I shot the picture and I went into editing. In those days, they still cut on moviolas. They didn't even have Avid machines or any of the the computerized stuff yet. And I sat down with the guy on the Avid machine and watched this film run through, and it told a story.
Wow.
And about halfway through it, I had tears in my eyes.
Wow.
Oh my God, this crap that I
That's
shot
incredible.
is actually a story, and it's a film. I was so excited. I was hooked, and I've been that way ever since.
You created. James Whitmore Jr. is our guest. It's the Manettis, ladies and
Stick
gentlemen.
in, Jimmy. We'll be
It's
right
the
back.
PM show, weekend edition. Stay with us on CRN. We'll be back.